Join us for the Audi A4 Facelift with a special of the Audi S4. Let's go! For all new A4 facelift versions, the front grille is definitely wider and more prominent. There are also upgrades here in the bumpers. Headlamps come from LED standard now, and optional the matrix light. Interesting daytime running light, and when you hit the turning indicators, you also have this cascading light then in this top light trim. The S4 gets those accentuations here inside the honeycomb structure grille. Here with the black pack. 4.73 meters, 15'5" or 186 inches is the length of the Audi A4 in general. They haven't changed that. Platform of course remained the same, but they actually touched the metal. Usually with facelifts, headlamps change, front grills change, but not the metal because that's expensive. You need new tools for that. Here there's a new design curve right here in the lower end to stress the shoulder area. Very interesting. Wheels from 16 to 19 inch, and indeed those ones are the top 19 inch wheels together with the brake calipers, bigger brakes here in the S4 trim. Again, this black package, you can see it here at the mirror caps and also the frames around the windows. This one here, the Avant or the Estate, but again as I said, also sedan, showing you very soon. So if you look at this vehicle now from a distance, by the way, nice panorama, isn't it? If you look from a distance here, it really resembles an Audi A6 now, doesn't it? And indeed, it was also intended to let the Audi A4 look a little bit more up-class, especially here with this new tail lamp design. And you can see here, you also have the turning, cascading indicator lights right there. As for the S4, you also have this honeycomb structure in the lower end. And then, what about exhaust? The S4 as petrol, that will look different. However, the S4 as diesel does have real exhaust on the left side. However, the outer tips are still just for beauty. And on the right side, it's completely blind exhaust, so to say. Yeah, about that. But we've seen it even worse with the Audi S6 Avant, where we had 4 blind exhausts. So this one is at least something in between. And to give you some variation, there is again the all-road version. It sits 3.5 centimeters higher, and some more color choices for you. This one here is a darker blue tone with the Avant. This is so-called Navara blue. And next to it, this one would be my favorite for today, the S4 in turbo blue. So that would be a strong Thomas blue, definitely. Under the hood today for the S4, there is this 3-liter diesel, 6-cylinder, about 350 horsepower, and just under 5 seconds is the acceleration to 100 kilometers or 62 miles now. And the funny thing is, with the V6 petrol engine, it's the same horsepower figure, approximately the same acceleration. So, it doesn't make too much of a difference on paper. Sound will be different, and also the power curve is of course always different from petrol and diesel engine. As I said, the S4 petrol still for the US. Europe and especially Germany get the S4 as the diesel only now. They do that because of those new consumption cycles and the CO2 output, because when they have too much CO2 output from the whole fleet, they have to pay extra fees then. has this sporty interior again with the carbon fiber inlets. For example, here at the left side of the steering wheel. Then you get an S steering wheel with a flat bottom and perforated sides. Then, in general, for the A4, you get base fabric seats, at least in Europe, which are quite nice and cozy and comfortable. Then optional or standard for the S4 are sport seats with bigger bolsters. I also have shots of those. They have a separated head restraint still. Would recommend those if you have the S4. And optional, those ones here, the S Sport seats with the integrated head restraint, they look sporty, look somewhat cool. They are also somewhat comfortable for sport seats, but less comfortable than the base ones, at least for me. First, they cage you in more. Then also this quilted structure there is not that comfortable on the long-term run. Then let's get inside. Classic mid-size shape, and I think it's often a very good compromise because the car is not too tall, so you can get along in parking boxes, but you already have more comfort than in a compact size vehicle. Interior overview, you can see here again with this compact steering wheel, very interesting. Sound control on the right, left side to control those digital instruments. What also has remained the same is this lower area right there with the carbon fiber deco, and this is my favorite AC unit. Best clicking sound ever, and with nice illumination here around and those capacitive buttons right there. Then they can show you what they actually do, and then you really hit them again with a nice clicking right there. I like to be able to do that while driving quite easily. In the lower part you have the drive select, that's placed in a quite low area, but then again those are still real buttons. In those big new Audi models this is also just capacitive and not that easy to control as it is right here. In the very lower end, USB port and the 12-volt power supply. But what is new now, definitely this new 10.1 inch screen pops up right there, but it's also very well usable. Yes, actually, it looks maybe a little bit weird, but you can reach it quite easily because everything there is done via touch. There's no control knob now again whatsoever. They lost that one, but you can again reach it quite easily because it stands so upright. And just this hardware is available. It just comes with different software. So if you want the top one, including the GPS, you have to pay extra for the software. But for used car customers, it's good that there's only one hardware version there. However, left side, it starts with analog instrument and optional 12.3 inch instruments. Soon more deals to both of those. And some soft touch here at the top of the dashboard. Details of this new infotainment screen. This is the satellite view here, also is a good processor behind it also, and well, everything just with touch, pinch and zoom and so on. You can also get it without the map view, that's also possible. And then you go back to your position, and once again the main menu looks like this. Phone apps, there you can for example also access the Apple CarPlay. So there it is, the Apple CarPlay, and by the way, optional 19-speaker Bang & Olufsen sound system in here, which has a really great sound here, especially for a mid-sized vehicle. Wow, what a surround, nice. Always hard to transport on camera, but that really is really amazing. And great song, by the way, can just recommend it. Digital instruments, a very clear, nice option on the right top part there. There's a check engine light. It's totally normal when the ignition is on. It will disappear when the engine is on, with every Volkswagen, Audi, Seat, Porsche, and so on. Then you can also change the views, have a bigger GPS view. Those head-up displays are always bigger and clearer to see with your eyes than on camera, but still, you have the speed, you have the allowed speed also when there's an info on that end, also some arrows for the GPS and so on, so it's a very good option to take. Now getting in the rear, and usually mid-size vehicles are not that well with that, at least the premium mid-size sedans and Avants and so on. But here it's actually quite okay, so one of the best there also among the premium competitors, especially, well, those sports seats are very voluminous. You will even have a little bit more legroom when you have the normal seats. It's, falling backwards, this whole bench, so it's not the most comfortable position, but still you get along quite well. Especially as Audi S4 Avant, you can do a lot with this sporty car, even in your everyday normal car life. You can open the trunk here either with the key, you can press below the Audi logo, or there's also this foot kick opening mechanism available, and well, that was flawless and that was live on tape, I can promise you. The good thing is here, look at that, the electric hatch is standard, and look at that, here also this top cover, it raises automatically when the trunk opens and it closes automatically again. And to the seats as we would be driving as rather tall passengers. Let's see what we have as a result there. I would say about -1.60 or something. Yeah, even more. 1.80 meters is the length in here to the co-driver seat. Welcome to Thomas's Driving Lounge with the Audi A4 Facelift, and in this case the Audi S4. And let's put it in dynamic mode and let it drive in dynamic way, because we have some winding corners here. Dynamic mode, when you have the adaptive suspension, which we have here. Again, the adaptive suspension available in a sporty trim and in a comfort trim. This one in the sporty trim. And then with the dynamic mode, it's a little bit sportier, gives me more feedback from the road. And that's pretty cool. So I have, wow, good drive here also from the diesel. Good torque, especially when we have already picked up speed. And the steering is very progressive, so I can keep my hands at the steering wheel all the time. I don't have to steer much, actually. So that's a very good feeling, and you're super much in control of the whole vehicle. So look at that now, when I turn in this corner. See how the degree of the corner, the angle of the corner is almost one-to-one transported to the steering wheel. That's very interesting. You maybe also notice that now when I let off the gas a little bit, then the car also tends to shift up again for consumption reasons, even in the sports mode. So, oh wow, old lunch here. Very interesting, sporty. So it's really cool when we are in this manual mode in here. So I shift down myself with the pedals, and then I can keep it here in the lower gears. So right here, keep it in third gear, accelerate out. Wow, that's really cool. And I really have to say, this diesel is a lot of fun. So when you keep it in the auto mode, again, tends to upshift too early, probably for a sporty vehicle. And from the low RPM regions, then it needs some help, so to say. But when you here shift down yourself, suspension reacts very nicely, crisp steering, and nice drive here. Wow, and the sound is actually also quite decent. Of course, it's not a sound as you would know it from this petrol engine. Again, look at that steering, very good control of the vehicle. And I told you earlier, here with 3-liter engines, no matter if diesel or petrol, you have the rear-wheel biased all-wheel drive still. And you feel it also, especially when you accelerate out of the corners, you don't have this, front wheel spin. And you also, with this vehicle, have a limited slip differential for the rear wheels. That helps us too. Wow, nice roads here then. Again, the most fun it is really when you keep it with the manual shifting, because again, even in the S mode, it keeps too high in the gears if you drive very, very sporty. The question, of course, how often you can do that actually, but wow. The job is really incredible, like from steering, suspension, and also the diesel is really so much fun if you shift it manual here. So again, the difference from the petrol engine to the diesel here will be sound predominantly, will be acceleration from the get-go. This, but everything else we tell you is actually the same for the S4 petrol and for the S4 diesel. On second gear, and see here also hardly any leaning from suspension. It's really a lot of fun, and still, I like it when you have a sports car that is nice to drive, but is still somewhat comfortable. Good also on the brakes, so very good responsiveness from the brakes. Wow. So an amazing job they've done here with the S4. And we here in Europe, especially in Germany, we can only get the diesel for the S4. Sound-wise, that's really a pity, but performance-wise, you can see that here is actually no problem. And consumption-wise, the question is the diesel a big advantage in fuel consumption? But we'll find about that later. Wow, have you seen that? How the corner got tighter, and what a good reaction again from the steering. So it really gives me a very, very natural, balanced driving feeling like that. Wow. Well, exterior-wise, they have changed quite a lot for a facelift, especially with this bigger front grille, for example. It looks stronger than before, and I think overall it is well done, more prominent and more distinguishable overall. And it moved closer towards an Audi A6, which could be cool for an A4 customer, but maybe not that nice for an A6 customer saying like, now an A4 even looks like my A6. Yeah, well, that's how it is. Also changes on the interior, especially as for the infotainment. I think it's pretty cool that we don't have to distinguish anymore between 3 different sizes of touchscreens. There's one, it is big, it is usable. Yeah, you just have to pay for different software solutions. But for used car customers, that's a big advantage, definitely. Oh, a lot of insects today here. And well, the space on the interior is actually quite good still, just not that good that you have to flip the seats, push them, that they don't flip automatically. That's what I have been criticizing for quite some time now with the A4. Other than that, a very high build quality, really well done. Then the driving experience, that is really flawless. Such a great compromise between sportiness and comfort. And still here in the S4, so although it's a sporty version, you still have a very comfortable drive. Then, especially with this acoustic dampening package which we had today, such a silent ride too. So much confidence this car gives you. The big diesel here has also significant power, especially if you shift it yourself then with the shifting pedals, and also if you already have picked up speed and then can use all the Newton meters of torque. Yeah, sound-wise, the V6 petrol will be better. That's, I think, without a discussion. But power-wise, you won't miss so much than here with the big diesel. Fuel consumption-wise, does remain at about 8 liters 100 kilometers, or 29 mpg US, 35 mpg UK. That should be better. This is the minimum consumption if we keep it cruise control on the motorway. It probably will go up a little bit more when you really hammer it. But not that much here with the diesel. That's also one advantage of the diesel, is that its fuel consumption span between minimum and maximum is not as wide as you would have it with a petrol engine. Yeah, so overall I think it still remains one of the best mid-sized vehicles on the market. But I would like to hear your opinion now. Please discuss it in the comments.